narrative.
I was finishing dinner when she dropped it on me. Just like that. No build-up, no serious conversation tone, nothing. She walked into the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and said it as casually as someone mentioning they signed up for a yoga class. So, I volunteered to be a surrogate for Brandon and his wife. She can't have kids, and I told them I'd help. I stopped mid-bite, fork halfway to my mouth. I put it down slowly, looked at her, and waited for the punchline. There wasn't one. She was serious, completely serious, standing there in our kitchen, sipping water like she'd just announced she was picking up groceries tomorrow. Brandon, her ex-boyfriend from college, the guy she dated for 3 years before we met, the guy whose wedding she attended 2 years ago and whose wife apparently can't conceive. And now my wife had volunteered her uterus for their family planning, without asking me, without even mentioning it beforehand. Wow, I said, keeping my voice steady. How incredibly generous of you. She smiled, actually smiled, like I'd just given her my blessing. I knew you'd understand. Brandon and his wife are going through so much. I just want to help them start a family. I nodded slowly, taking a long drink of my own water. My mind was already moving, calculating, processing what I'd just heard. She stood there waiting for me to say more, maybe expecting me to ask questions or express concern about the medical process or something. Instead, I asked, "When did you decide this?" "Oh, about 2 weeks ago. His wife reached out to me, and we met for coffee. She was so emotional, and I just felt like this was something I could do for them." 2 weeks. She'd been planning this for 2 weeks and was just now telling me. Not asking. Telling. Past tense. Decision made. That's quite a commitment, I said, my tone completely neutral. I know, but it's only 9 months. And they're covering all the medical expenses, obviously. The procedure is scheduled for next week. Next week. The timeline was already set. Appointments made. Plans finalized. All without a single conversation with her husband. I felt something shift inside me, something cold and clear. This wasn't a partnership anymore. This was someone making major life decisions and expecting me to just go along with it. Next week, I repeated. That's soon. Yeah, I'm excited. Nervous, but excited. Brandon's wife can't stop thanking me. It feels good to help people who want children so badly. I watched her face. She genuinely believed this was normal. That volunteering to carry her ex-boyfriend's baby was just a kind gesture between old friends. That her husband's opinion on the matter was optional at best. Well, I said, standing up and putting my plate in the sink. I'm glad you're helping them out. She hugged me. Actually hugged me, like I'd just supported her dream or something. I stood there, arms at my sides for a moment before loosely returning it. She pulled back, kissed my cheek, and went upstairs to take a shower. I stayed in the kitchen, staring at nothing. The sound of the water running upstairs felt distant. My phone was in my pocket. I pulled it out and opened my browser. Started searching. Divorce attorneys in the area. Family law specialists. Asset protection strategies. I had 7 days before her appointment. 7 days to get everything in order. She came down an hour later in her pajamas, settling onto the couch with her laptop. Probably Googling pregnancy tips or surrogate blogs or whatever. I sat in the chair across from her, scrolling through attorney websites, taking notes. "You're quiet tonight," she said, not looking up from her screen. "Just thinking," I replied. "About the surrogacy?" "Yeah, about the surrogacy." She smiled again, that same oblivious smile. "It's going to be fine. I promise it won't affect us." I nodded, didn't say anything, just went back to my phone. Found 3 attorneys with good reviews and availability this week. Sent inquiry emails to all of them. My wife was 10 feet away, planning to carry another man's child, and I was planning my exit. The difference was, she had no idea what was coming. I intended to keep it that way until the exact right moment. "I'm heading to bed," she said around 10, closing her laptop. "You coming?" "In a bit. Got some work stuff to finish." She kissed the top of my head and went upstairs. I heard the bedroom door close. I stayed up until midnight, reading about divorce procedures, asset freezing, and insurance policy modifications. By the time I went to bed, I had a clear plan. She was asleep, curled up on her side, completely at peace. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling. 7 days. That's all I needed. She'd made her choice. Now I was making mine. And unlike her, I wasn't going to ask permission. The next morning, I had a consultation scheduled with an attorney named Mr. Carlson. Took a late start at work, told my boss I had a dentist appointment. My wife was still asleep when I left the house at 8:30. His office was downtown, third floor of an older building. No fancy reception area, just a waiting room with 4 chairs and outdated magazines. That was fine. I wasn't there for ambience. Mr. Carlson was in his 50s, gray hair, reading glasses on a chain. He shook my hand and gestured to a chair across from his desk. So, you mentioned on the phone this was time sensitive. My wife volunteered to be a surrogate for her ex-boyfriend and his wife. Without asking me, the procedure is scheduled for next week. He stopped writing and looked up. She's carrying her ex's biological child? That's correct. And you found out when? Last night. At dinner. She announced it like she was joining a book, like she was signing up for a pottery class. He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. Did she discuss this with you at any point before volunteering? No. She met with them 2 weeks ago and decided on her own. That's a significant unilateral decision. He pulled out a legal pad. Let's talk about your options. You want to file for divorce? Yes. Timeline. Before the procedure. I want everything filed, assets frozen, and her removed from my health insurance before she goes into that clinic. He nodded slowly. We can do that, but I need to be clear, this will move fast. You'll need to make decisions quickly and stick with them. No second guessing. I won't second guess. We spent the next 90 minutes going through everything. Joint bank accounts, the house we were renting, my 401k, her car that was under my name, health insurance through my employer. He took notes, asked questions, explained the process. By the time I left his office, I had a clear timeline. Papers would be ready by Friday. I'd serve them the day after her procedure. I went to work after that, sat at my desk, answered emails, attended a meeting about quarterly projections. Normal Tuesday stuff. My phone buzzed around 2 in the afternoon. Text from my wife. Just confirmed the appointment for Monday morning at 9. Brandon's wife is so grateful. Love you. I stared at that message for a solid minute. Love you. Like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't just torpedoed our marriage without realizing it. I typed back, glad it's all set. That evening, she was in full planning mode. Had her laptop open on the dining table, scrolling through surrogacy forums and prenatal vitamin recommendations. I made myself a sandwich and sat across from her. Did you know the hormone shots start this weekend? She said, not looking up. To prepare for the embryo transfer. Brandon's dropping off the medication tomorrow. Brandon, coming to our house. To deliver fertility drugs. For the baby he was having with my wife's reproductive system. That's convenient, I said. Yeah, he offered. His wife is really nervous about the whole thing, so he's handling most of the logistics. I'm sure he is. She finally looked at me. You're being supportive, right? I mean, you seem fine with it. I told you last night, it's generous of you. She smiled, satisfied, and went back to her laptop. I finished my sandwich and went upstairs. Called Mr. Carlson from the bedroom with the door closed. I need to freeze the joint accounts, I said. Can we do that before Friday? I can file an emergency motion tomorrow morning. Judge Murphy usually grants them by end of day. What's the account balance? Around $48,000. Savings and checking combined. That'll definitely get frozen. She won't be able to access it once the order goes through. Good. And the insurance? I'll contact your HR department directly. They can process the removal as part of a qualifying life event. Should be effective by Monday. Monday, the day of her procedure. Perfect timing. Do it, I said. Thursday evening, Brandon showed up. I was in the living room when the doorbell rang. My wife practically ran to answer it. I stayed where I was, watching from the couch. He walked in carrying a small cooler bag. Tall guy, athletic build, friendly smile. He saw me and waved. Hey man, thanks for being cool about all this. Cool about it. Like I had a choice in the matter. No problem, I said. My wife led him to the kitchen. I could hear them talking, her laughing at something he said. They were in there for maybe 10 minutes. When he left, she was holding the cooler bag like it contained treasure. Got the medication, she announced. First injection is Saturday morning. Exciting, I said, my voice flat. She didn't notice. Too focused on her surrogacy journey. Friday afternoon, Mr. Carlson called. Papers are ready. Accounts are frozen as of 3 p.m. Insurance removal processes Monday morning. You're all set. Thank you. One more thing. Once you serve her, she's going to panic. Probably call you nonstop. Don't answer. Let everything go through attorneys. Understand. Understood. That weekend was surreal. Saturday morning, she gave herself the first hormone injection in our bathroom. Came out looking proud of herself. Sunday, she did the second one. Kept talking about how Monday was the big day, how nervous she was, how grateful Brandon's wife had been on the phone. I nodded along. Made coffee. Watched football. Acted like everything was normal. Inside, I was counting down. 24 hours. Then 18. Then 12. Monday morning, she woke up early. 6 a.m. I heard her in the bathroom, getting ready. She came out dressed in comfortable clothes, hair in a ponytail. I'm heading to the clinic, she said. Should be done by 11. Brandon and his wife are meeting me there. Hope it goes well, I said. She kissed me goodbye. Actually kissed me. Then grabbed her purse and left. I listened to her car start, back out of the driveway, disappear down the street. I got up, made breakfast, and went to work. My phone was on silent. I knew what was coming. Around 1 in the afternoon, Mr. Carlson texted, "Insurance removal confirmed. She'll find out when she tries to use it." I texted back, "Perfect." 3 hours later, my phone started vibrating. 8 missed calls from my wife. 12 text messages. I didn't read them. Didn't listen to the voicemails. Just let it ring and buzz and light up on my desk while I finished my reports. At 5, I drove home. Her car was in the driveway. The front door was unlocked. I walked in, and there she was, standing in the kitchen, holding papers in her hand. Divorce papers. Her face was blotchy, eyes red from crying. She looked at me like I was a stranger. "What is this?" I set my keys on the counter and looked at her. She was shaking, holding those papers like they might combust in her hands. Her phone was on the kitchen table, screen cracked from what looked like she'd thrown it. "What is this?" she repeated, her voice cracking. I walked past her to the fridge, pulled out a beer, and cracked it open. Took a long drink before I answered. "Those are divorce papers." I figured the title was pretty self-explanatory. "You can't be serious. This is a joke, right? Some kind of sick joke because you're mad about the surrogacy?" I leaned against the counter, completely calm. "I'm not joking. I'm divorcing you." "Why? Because I'm helping Brandon and his wife? That's insane." "No," I said, taking another sip. "I'm divorcing you because you made a massive life decision without consulting me. You volunteered your body to carry another man's child and told me after the fact. That's not a marriage. That's you doing whatever you want and expecting me to smile and support it." Her face went from red to pale. "But I thought you were okay with it. You said it was generous." "It was generous. Generous of you to show me exactly how little you value this relationship." She dropped the papers on the table and grabbed her phone. "The bank froze our accounts. I can't access anything." "Was that you too?" "Yes." "How am I supposed to pay for anything? The follow-up appointments, the medications, I need that money." "Should have thought about that before volunteering for a 9-month commitment without discussing it with your husband." "This is insane." She was yelling now, hands in the air. "You're punishing me for helping people." "I'm not punishing you. I'm removing myself from a situation where my opinion doesn't matter. You made a choice. I'm making mine. But I'm pregnant now, with their embryo. The procedure was this morning." I nodded. "I know. Congratulations. I'm sure Brandon and his wife are thrilled." She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "You planned this. You waited until after the procedure to serve me." "I filed on Friday. The timing just worked out." "You're a monster." "No," I said, setting my beard down. "I'm a man who refuses to be a doormat. You want to make unilateral decisions? Fine, but I don't have to stick around for them." Her phone rang. She looked at it, then answered. "Hello? Yes, this is she." "What?" "No, there must be a mistake. I'm covered under my husband's insurance." "Check again." I watched her face drain of color. "Removed? When?" "Today." She looked at me, eyes wide with panic. "But I just had a medical procedure this morning. I need coverage for the follow-ups. This can't be right." She hung up and threw her phone on the table. "You removed me from your health insurance? Qualifying life event. Divorce filing counts. I'm carrying a baby. Their baby. How am I supposed to cover the medical costs? That's between you, Brandon, and his wife. You 3 made this arrangement. Figure it out." She sank into a chair, head in her hands. "This can't be happening. I was trying to do something good. You were trying to do something that made you feel good. There's a difference." She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "So that's it. You're just done? After 6 years of marriage. You were done the moment you decided carrying your ex's baby was more important than discussing it with me first." It's not his baby biologically from me. It's his wife's egg. Doesn't matter whose egg it is. You're the one carrying it. In your body. For 9 months. And you decided that without me. She wiped her face with her sleeve. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And that's the problem. You didn't think. Or you thought. And you decided my input wasn't necessary. Her phone buzzed. She looked at it, and her face went even paler. Brandon's calling. Better answer it. I'm sure he's got questions. She answered, putting it on speaker without thinking. Brandon's voice filled the kitchen. Hey, so my wife just got a call from the clinic about insurance issues. They're saying your coverage was terminated today. What's going on? My wife looked at me, silent pleading in her eyes. I said nothing. There's been a situation, she said finally. My husband filed for divorce. Silence on the other end. Then, wait, what? Today? The same day as the procedure? Apparently, he filed Friday. More silence. Then a woman's voice in the background. Brandon's wife. Is she serious? She's getting divorced right now? Brandon, we can't deal with this kind of drama. Look, Brandon said, his tone shifting from concern to annoyed. We need to know you can handle this. The medical expenses are significant, and if you don't have insurance. I'll figure it out, my wife interrupted. You need to figure it out fast. My wife is already stressed enough. We didn't sign up for this kind of complication. He hung up. My wife sat there, staring at her phone. They're mad at me, she whispered. Brandon's mad at me. Imagine that, I said. Turns out when you create chaos, people get upset. She looked up at me with something between rage and desperation. You did this on purpose. You destroyed everything on purpose. No, you destroyed it when you made a choice that should have been a conversation. I just responded accordingly. Where am I supposed to go? This is our house. It's a rental. Under my name. Lease is up in 3 months. You've got time to find a place. With what money? You froze everything. You'll get your share when the divorce is finalized. Until then, I suggest you call your parents. Or Brandon, since you're all so close now. She stood up, grabbing the divorce papers. I'm calling a lawyer. You can't do this. Already done. Check page 7. Your first court date is in 3 weeks. She flipped through the pages, hands shaking. Found the date. Look back at me. I hate you. You're entitled to feel however you want. Doesn't change anything. She grabbed her phone and stormed upstairs. I heard the bedroom door slam. 30 seconds later, I heard her on the phone, voice muffled but clearly crying. I finished my beer, rinsed the bottle, and tossed it in the recycling. Went to the living room and turned on the television. Baseball game was on. I sat down and watched, volume low. Upstairs, my wife was having a breakdown. Downstairs, I was watching the 7th inning stretch. She made her choice. I made mine. And unlike her, I wasn't asking for permission or expecting sympathy. I was just done. The next morning, I woke up to an empty bed. She'd slept in the guest room. Fine by me. I got ready for work like any other day. Showered, dressed, made coffee. She came downstairs right as I was heading out the door. She looked terrible. Eyes swollen, hair a mess, still wearing yesterday's clothes. We need to talk, she said. Talk to your attorney. Mine is Mr. Carlson. His number's on the paperwork. Please. Just 5 minutes. I checked my watch. You've got 3. She took a breath, steadying herself. I spoke with a lawyer last night. She said you can't just cut me off financially. We're still married. The accounts are frozen pending divorce proceedings. Standard procedure. Your lawyer should have told you that. She did. She also said this whole thing makes you look vindictive. A judge won't like it. A judge will see that you made a major decision without spousal consultation, and I responded by protecting my assets. I'm fine with how that looks. I need money for the medical appointments. The clinic wants payment up front for the next visit. Call Brandon. It's his baby. It's not that simple. They covered the procedure, but the ongoing care was supposed to go through my insurance. That was part of the agreement. Sounds like you 3 need to renegotiate your agreement. Her voice cracked. You're really not going to help me at all. Help you carry another man's child? No, I'm not. It's not about the baby. It's about me. Your wife. Soon-to-be ex-wife. And you stopped being someone I'd help the moment you decided my opinion didn't matter. She wiped her eyes. My mom wants to talk to you. No. She thinks you're overreacting. I don't care what your mom thinks. My dad said you're throwing away a good marriage over pride. I picked up my keys. Your 3 minutes are up. I'm going to work. Everyone thinks you're being unreasonable. I stopped at the door and turned back. Everyone? You mean the people you told your version of the story to? The version where you're the generous soul helping infertile couples, and I'm the villain who can't handle it. That's not what I said. Did you tell them you never asked me? That you volunteered your uterus to your ex-boyfriend without a single conversation with your husband? She looked away. That's what I thought. Tell your parents the whole story. Then ask them if I'm overreacting. I left. Got to work by 7:30. My phone started ringing around 9. Her mom. I declined the call. Then her dad. Declined. Then a number I didn't recognize. Declined that too. Sent everything to voicemail and focused on my job. Lunchtime, Mr. Carlson called. Her attorney reached out. Woman named Mrs. Sheffield. She wants to negotiate a temporary support arrangement. No. She claims your wife needs financial assistance for medical expenses related to the surrogacy. Not my problem. That's what I told her. She didn't take it well. Says you're being cruel to a pregnant woman. She's pregnant by choice. A choice she made without consulting me. Sheffield can argue whatever she wants. I'm not budging. Understood. Just wanted to keep you informed. Also, your wife posted something on social media. You might want to see it. I hung up and opened Facebook. Found her profile. There it was. A long post about how she was going through a difficult time, how she'd volunteered to help a childless couple out of pure compassion, and how her husband had abandoned her during a vulnerable moment. Comments were already rolling in. Friends offering support, calling me heartless, saying she deserved better. I screenshotted and sent it to Mr. Carlson with a message. Is this going to be a problem? He responded, actually helps us. Shows she's playing the victim publicly while omitting key facts. Judge won't like that. Fair enough. I closed the app and went back to work. That evening, I came home to find her car gone. Good. The house was quiet. I made dinner, ate alone, watched television. Around 8, she came back. I heard the front door open and close. She walked into the living room, carrying 2 grocery bags. Bought food with my credit card, she said. Since I can't access our money. That's fine. She stared at me. That's it. That's all you have to say. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. You're acting like I don't exist. You exist. I'm just done caring about your problems. She set the bags down hard on the kitchen counter. Brandon's wife called me today. She's furious. Says I should have told them about my marriage issues before agreeing to be their surrogate. She's right. You should have. There weren't any marriage issues. Not until you decided to blow everything up. There were issues. You just didn't notice them because you don't pay attention to anything that doesn't directly benefit you. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? You volunteered to spend 9 months carrying a baby that's not ours, for people who aren't us, without asking how I felt about it. Then you act shocked when I have a problem with it. That's what's not fair. She crossed her arms. It's just 9 months. 9 months of you being physically and emotionally connected to your ex-boyfriend's family. 9 months of doctor appointments, hormones, body changes, all revolving around them. You really didn't think that would affect our marriage. I thought you trusted me. Trust has nothing to do with it. You made a commitment to another family without committing to a conversation with me first. That tells me exactly where your priorities are. My priority was helping people. Your priority was making yourself feel important. And it cost you everything. She grabbed the grocery bags and stormed upstairs. I heard the guest room door slam again. 2 days later, her attorney called me directly. I didn't answer, but she left a voicemail. Mrs. Sheffield's voice was professional but cold. Mr. Caldwell, this is Attorney Sheffield representing your wife. I strongly suggest you reconsider your current stance. A pregnant woman without financial support or health insurance is a bad look in court. Judges don't respond well to husbands who abandon their wives in vulnerable conditions. Call my office to discuss reasonable terms. I forwarded the voicemail to Mr. Carlson. He called back within the hour. Sheffield's grasping. She knows her client made a massive mistake and she's trying to spin it. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried. Good. Also, I did some digging. The surrogacy agreement your wife signed? It's not legally binding without spousal consent in this state, meaning the whole arrangement could be challenged. What does that mean practically? It means Brandon and his wife are on shaky legal ground. If your wife wanted to back out, they'd have a hard time enforcing anything. But that's not our concern. Just thought you should know. Interesting. I filed that information away. The weekend came. Saturday morning, I was making breakfast when she appeared in the kitchen doorway. She looked smaller somehow. Defeated. I'm moving in with my parents next week, she said quietly. Okay, they're paying for my medical expenses and helping with a lawyer. That's good. You really don't care, do you? I looked at her directly. I cared. Past tense. You killed that when you proved my opinion didn't matter to you. I made a mistake. No, you made a choice. A deliberate, calculated choice. Now you're dealing with consequences you didn't expect. That's not a mistake. That's life. She left the kitchen without another word. By the following Tuesday, she was gone. Took her clothes, her laptop, some kitchen stuff. Left the furniture. I came home to a half-empty house and felt nothing but relief. That evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this Mr. Caldwell? A man's voice. Not Brandon. Who's asking? This is Attorney Brennan. I represent Brandon and his wife Hargrove. We need to discuss the situation with your wife. I don't have a wife anymore. I have a soon-to-be ex-wife. And whatever situation you're referring to is between your clients and her. The surrogacy agreement is in jeopardy because of this divorce. Our clients invested significant money into this arrangement. Not my problem. Actually, it could be. If your wife decides to terminate the pregnancy or back out of the agreement, we'll pursue legal action, and we'll name you as a contributing party. I laughed. Actually laughed. Good luck with that. I had no knowledge of the agreement, gave no consent, and filed for divorce the moment I found out. You've got nothing on me. We'll see about that. Yeah, we will. I hung up. Then I called Mr. Carlson and told him about the conversation. They're panicking, he said. Their surrogate is now a liability, and they're trying to threaten their way out of it. Ignore them. If they actually file anything, we'll deal with it. But I doubt they will. He was right. I never heard from Attorney Brennan again. But the damage was done. Brandon, his wife, and my soon-to-be ex were all drowning in a mess of their own making. And I was watching from the shore, completely dry. 3 weeks passed. The court date arrived. I showed up in a suit, Mr. Carlson beside me. My soon-to-be ex-wife sat across the aisle with Mrs. Sheffield and her parents. Her mother glared at me like I'd committed murder. Her father wouldn't make eye contact. The judge was a woman in her 60s, Judge Whitman. She reviewed the filings, looked between both parties, and got straight to it. Mrs. Caldwell, you entered into a surrogacy agreement without consulting your husband? My wife stood. Yes, Your Honor. But I didn't think it required his permission. It's my body. It is your body. Judge Whitman agreed. But marriage is a partnership. Major decisions affecting both parties typically require discussion. Did you discuss this at all before volunteering? Silence. No, Your Honor. The judge made a note. Mr. Caldwell, you filed for divorce immediately upon learning of this arrangement? Yes, Your Honor. And froze joint assets? To protect them during proceedings? Yes. Judge Whitman looked at Mrs. Sheffield. Counselor, your client made a unilateral decision with significant implications. I'm not seeing grounds to claim abandonment here. The asset freeze is standard. Request denied. Mrs. Sheffield tried to argue, but the judge moved on. Temporary orders were established. I'd pay minimal spousal support until the divorce finalized. The house stayed under my name. She had 60 days to remove her remaining belongings. We left the courthouse separately. I didn't look back. 2 months later, Mr. Carlson called with news. Brandon and his wife are suing your ex-breach of contract. She missed 3 medical appointments, and they're claiming she's not upholding her end of the surrogacy agreement. Is she still pregnant? As far as I know, yes. But apparently she's been difficult to reach and non-compliant with their requests. I wasn't surprised. She'd created chaos, and now everyone was paying for it. The divorce finalized 4 months after I filed. Clean split. She got her half of the savings, minus legal fees. I kept the car, the furniture, and my peace of mind. I ran into her once, 6 months later, at a grocery store. She was visibly pregnant, pushing a cart alone. She saw me and froze. I nodded once and kept walking. Heard through mutual friends that Brandon and his wife got their baby. Also heard they refused to speak to my ex after the delivery. Too much drama, they said. Too many complications. She moved 2 states away after that. Started over somewhere else. Me? I stayed right where I was. Got a promotion at work. Started going to the gym regularly. Dated casually, nothing serious. Focused on building a life I actually wanted. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled it. The answer is simple. No. She made a choice that showed me exactly how much my opinion mattered to her. I responded by showing her what consequences look like. She wanted to help Brandon start a family. I helped myself start a new life. And unlike her decision, mine actually worked out. A year after the divorce, I was sitting in my living room with a beer, watching a game, when my phone buzzed. Message from an unknown number. This is Brandon. I owe you an apology. You were right about everything. I'm sorry for my part in what happened. I stared at that message for about 10 seconds, then deleted it. Didn't respond. What was there to say? He'd helped wreck my marriage and now felt bad about it. Good for him. The truth is, I'd moved on completely. New apartment, better job, started seeing someone casually who actually communicated like an adult. My life improved the moment I stopped accepting disrespect. People told me I was cold, that I should have tried counseling, given her a chance to explain, been more understanding. Those people don't get it. There was nothing to explain. She made a choice that put another man's family planning above her own marriage. That wasn't a communication problem. That was a priority problem. I learned something important through all of it. Marriage isn't just about love. It's about respect. It's about treating your partner like their opinion matters, especially on decisions that affect both of you. She didn't do that, so I didn't stay. Some guys would have stuck around, complained for years, let resentment build until they were miserable shells of themselves. Not me. I saw the situation clearly and acted decisively. No begging, no drama, no trying to change her mind. Just clean, immediate consequences. Did she suffer? Yeah. Lost her marriage, her financial stability, got sued by the people she tried to help, and had to move away to escape the mess. But those were her consequences, earned by her choices. Did I suffer? Not really. Had a few rough weeks dealing with the logistics, sure. But compared to spending years in a marriage where I didn't matter, that was nothing. The divorce taught me what I wouldn't tolerate. Disrespect, unilateral decisions, being treated like my opinion was optional. I set that standard and I've kept it ever since. These days, I'm doing fine. Better than fine, honestly. I've got my own place, money in the bank, and relationships with people who actually value my input. I look back at that dinner when she announced the surrogacy, and I'm grateful. Not for what she did, but for showing me exactly who she was before I wasted more years finding out. She wanted to help Brandon and his wife start a family. Mission accomplished, I guess. Meanwhile, I helped myself start a better life. One where being a doormat wasn't part of the deal. And that's the real lesson here. When someone shows you they don't value you, believe them. Then act accordingly. Don't wait around hoping they'll change. Don't make excuses for behavior you wouldn't tolerate from anyone else. Set your standards. Enforce them. Move on. I did. Never looked back. Never regretted it. And I never will.
Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.